topic that I really wanted to share with everybody, something that's extremely dear to my heart, and a message, I guess, that I want to give out to the world to help others that have experienced the same thing as me, to be able to know that it's okay to talk and it's okay to express how you felt in a time like that. And what I'm referring to is the miscarriage that I've had in my life. It was during the year 2019, and we'd already had our first child. So I guess I walked into having our second child with the anticipation that I would just fall pregnant and everything would be okay. And I never for a moment thought that, that idea of falling pregnant could be taken away from me by the loss of a child. And when we decided, my husband and I, to start having our second child, it happened really quickly. I believe we literally, agreed to begin trying, and I felt pregnant instantly, which did throw me at the time because, I was so excited. I was anticipating our second born. I was so grateful and felt so blessed that I had fallen pregnant so quickly, when, many around me that I know and those out in the world may sometimes go through quite a extensive journey in trying to fall pregnant. So I was ecstatic, and I remember feeling all of the different excitements and the questions of what's the second one going to look like, and am I going to have a boy or a girl, and I just remember letting everybody know the news, and I know we shared it really early because we were excited. And then I got to week 11, and I had my 12-week scan booked in, so I was going to hopefully get a glimpse of the gender of the baby. And I was coming into that safer zone, as everybody puts it, when you're 3 months and over, and your little fetus becomes the baby that you've got inside. And I was at my week 11 when I went to work on a Monday, and I just experienced a little bit of, I guess, discharge that worried me a little bit. And I remember calling my midwife and having a chat, and they did say to me at the time if I obviously was concerned to go see the doctor, but I thought, it's just a little bit, it's quite normal to have something like that happen when you're pregnant. And I kind of didn't think much of it, but I know it was sitting in the back of my mind. And when I woke up on Tuesday, what I had seen the day before, there was a lot more of, and in a colour that really just did not look right at all. So I jumped straight into the car and went to the doctor, who then gave me a referral for an urgent ultrasound. I went over to the clinic that does the ultrasound, and they took me straight in. They were really, really good and supportive. I was with my mum at the time. I took my mum, my husband was working, and my other little one was at daycare. So I went in, and I remember laying on the bed, and I was just beside myself with nerves. I just wanted the ultrasound lady, to tell me that everything was fine and that there was nothing to worry about. But as she put the machine on my belly area and was having a look, I just had this feeling start to really sink in. She asked for my permission to do an internal ultrasound, and that was obviously for her to verify what she believed to be true at the time. And when obviously I said okay, when we proceeded with the internal ultrasound, it didn't take her long to let me know that unfortunately the heartbeat of my baby was no longer there. And I remember, even now, I can feel the emotion. I'm just obviously trying to hold it together so I can give my story, but I remember just breaking down in tears. My mum was trying to be so strong for me, and the ultrasound lady gave me some space, obviously, and then let me know that I could go to the bathroom, because if anybody's ever had a pregnancy ultrasound, you're holding a full bladder to be able to do that. So I got up and went and did that. And when I came back, she let me know, the ultrasound lady, that my results would obviously be with my doctor and to go have a chat there. But I pushed for more information. And if anybody is aware, when you get an ultrasound, they're not generally meant to diagnose you in any way. It's something that they will report on and then give it to your doctor. And then you go have the conversation with your doctor. But as you can imagine, I'm extremely distraught. I'm crying and I'm begging her to let me know if there was anything that she could give me. And she just, I remember the comment, unfortunately, I think the heartbeat had actually stopped some time ago, and your body's obviously now going through the process to miscarry. I went back to the doctor that afternoon to get my results from him, and he let me know from the report that the heartbeat had stopped roughly 2 weeks before I'd actually gone in for that internal ultrasound at 11 weeks. So potentially baby at 9 weeks had stopped growing. That was from the measurements. I had unfortunately lost the baby at that point. Obviously I wasn't aware, and I think also my body had alerted me to the fact that I didn't have the baby anymore and that there was no heartbeat. It wasn't until I had that discharge at week 11 that I knew something wasn't right. And the week ahead of me was really hard. You have to obviously make a decision as a woman to either have the miscarriage, curated, cleaned out, or you can take specific medication that helps the process, or you can allow your body to do it naturally. And at the time, I opted for it naturally because I was very hesitant to allow any procedure where you had to internally clean me out. I really wanted to have kids again. I had my own fears around that potentially stopping me in the future. And I try as hard as I can not to ever have medication because it's just not good for my body. That's my personal choice. So I opted for the process of allowing my body to do it naturally. And I remember the doctor saying to me, you're in for a hard couple of days. And it was exactly like experiencing childbirth, obviously at a much lesser pain threshold, because the contractions aren't as huge as delivering a full 9-month-old baby at the point of you in labor. It's obviously trying to deliver a much smaller fetus from within your body at that point where I was in the pregnancy. And it was a really tough few days ahead. And I got to the weekend, I got to Saturday, and I was in a fair bit of pain. And my body was contracting. It was Saturday evening. And I just remember having a heat bag on, and I had Panadol to try and, lessen the blow. And then I woke up on Sunday and my body was going through the full process of letting it go, and I started bleeding heavily. So I had to rush to hospital. And the strain it placed on me and my husband, I couldn't stand the sight of him. I held so much blame towards myself and to him. You couldn't speak to me. I closed off from everybody. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop blaming myself. I couldn't stop feeling like I'd done something wrong, like I'd stressed too much, or I jolted my body in a way that helped the miscarriage happen. Or God, I accused myself of so many things. I worked too hard. I pushed out too many hours. You name it, the thought came through my mind. And I remember at the time my work was really, really supportive. Obviously, instantly when this happened, I went on immediate leave, and there was no time frame to that. They were going to hold space for me for as long as I needed. So I was very thankful for that. Now when I look back, obviously in the moment, there wasn't much I was thankful for. It placed a lot of strain on my body to go through it. I lost a lot of blood. And when I went into the hospital on that Sunday from the hemorrhaging that was happening, the doctor advised me that I had to actually take the medication to help the miscarriage, flush out everything, because my body had done a really great job, but there was still a fair bit that they could see from the ultrasound, and it's quite dangerous to leave any of that within the body. So I left that day from the hospital with the medication to help the miscarriage flush everything out from my body. So I did that, and that put my body back through contractions again, obviously, because it's doing its job to clean. And I remember at the end of that week I had to get checked up again, and they did say to me that I'd fully flushed everything out. So within that 2 weeks, not only did I get told that my baby doesn't have a heartbeat, that I'd lost my baby, but I had to go through the process of pretty much delivering the fetus. And then even getting told then that once all of that had happened and my body had cleaned everything out, that it's like I got told all over again that I'd lost the baby. And I actually spent days at my parents' house because I needed someone to help me with my youngest, well, my only child at that time. And I couldn't function. I couldn't function as a mum. I couldn't function as a person. I wasn't eating. I wasn't talking to anybody. I didn't go to work for a few weeks. I hated the world. I had thought I was such a strong person for so long, you know. I think guided by this image that whatever came my way, I could just get through. But that was the biggest realization in life, that you're never really prepared for what life's got to offer. And as a mother, you know, just the constant blame that I'd done something wrong, even when the doctor had told me time and time again, the body chooses to obviously let something go when it's not right. There could have been so many reasons why you've miscarried this baby. You're perfectly healthy. We've, you know, checked out your reproductive system. There's nothing wrong with you falling pregnant again. And my relationship with my husband turned really bad, really quick. I blamed him for causing me stress. I accused him of so much. He obviously was also trying to go through the miscarriage we had. And yes, obviously men and women may respond to it differently, but your partner loses a baby just as much as you do. Obviously harder for you because your body's carrying it and you're going through it, but it doesn't lessen the blow that they are also having to face the fact that they've lost a baby. And God, I even had people say to me, you're lucky you lost it within the 3 months. It was still a fetus. I'm sorry, that doesn't really make sense. It has a heartbeat. You know, it's my baby. From the minute I found that I'm pregnant, I'm a mother again. And I tried really hard even to be there for my daughter. And she obviously was quite young, so I'm thankful in that sense because she didn't understand what was going on or why mum was laying on the couch all day crying and not wanting to eat or speak to anybody. But it took me a few weeks to get back up, and I guess how I look at it is snap out of what I was going through, in the sense that I got up, wiped my tears, and I, with vengeance, literally said to my husband, we're trying again. And I got so determined and so fixated on falling pregnant that also placed further strain on our marriage because we weren't in a good place. And I was so determined to fall pregnant again because I wanted to prove that I could have a baby. I was fine. I could carry another baby, you know, and there was nothing wrong with me, and there was nothing wrong with us, and there was nothing wrong with our life. There was just so much emotion going on for me. I felt sadness. I felt guilt. I felt anger. I felt resentment. I had some really dark thoughts. I think at one point got close to asking, why am I even living? What could I possibly give my daughter that's with me now? I've lost a baby. I'm incapable of being a mother. God, my talk track in my mind was really bad, really bad. And 3 months of solid trying and constant arguments at home, I actually did fall pregnant again. So I miscarried in March 2019 and I fell pregnant again in June. And I'm so lucky and so grateful to have been given that second baby at that time so quickly. But the worst part about hearing that I was pregnant again was the fear that I could lose that baby too. And for 9 months, I held on to this fear that I was going to miscarry, or that my baby would die somewhere along the lines of the 9-month pregnancy. I would have to deliver a stillborn. God, I conjured up so many thoughts on how wrong this could go, and I didn't actually take the moment to really enjoy the pregnancy or to be thankful and grateful at the time. I was just so focused on all the negative. And I delivered a healthy baby, which I am so grateful for now. She's amazing. And my oldest got a sister, and they obviously are too young to understand it. There was a baby in between that. But let's just say the universe gave me a second chance. That's how I felt. And I guess the reason why I wanted to come up with and forward with my story is because I've met so many women that have suffered a miscarriage, or have delivered stillborn, or have lost a baby very early after they've been born, and they just don't talk about it, or they feel like they're not supported, or they feel like they can't talk about it to anybody. They blame themselves, and they go through a lot of the same talks that I did with myself, and they hold it all inside. And if I learned anything in my experience, was if I didn't come forward from that moment, from that tragedy in my life, it would have affected my marriage. It would have affected me being a mother to my child, my eldest that I have. It would have really affected life and the choices I made moving forward. And I remember when my second was born, I held on to her for dear life, and we had just started in this pandemic that the world is going through. So I've spent the first maybe 6 months of her life at home, no visitors and not going anywhere. And I loved it because I was just so grateful and so happy to have been given a chance to fall pregnant again and deliver a healthy baby. And it was at that point, though, when I was sitting at home in them 6 months, that I looked back and reflected on the roller coaster, as I put it, of emotions that had happened and triggered everything that I felt when I got given the news that the baby I was carrying had no heartbeat. And then the determination and the stubbornness and the attitude towards having to fall pregnant again, which I'm thankful for because I was given that chance, but it placed my marriage on massive strain. It placed me in a massive turmoil of emotions that really could have hurt me, my health, and my, as I said, my ability to be a mum to the child I already had, and a wife to my loving husband, who I love dearly. I love them both very much. I love all my family very much. We're now a family of 4, and I'm thankful for that. But it was at that point that I realized I didn't want to live from this negative place. I didn't want to live with negative emotions. I didn't want to be governed by the thoughts of guilt and fear and anger and resentment and feeling unloved, feeling disregarded, unconsidered, all of those things. I didn't want them anymore in my life. I didn't want to listen to the news that's just so conditioning. I wanted to be the best mum I could be for my 2 girls that I got given. I wanted to show them that they have a choice. That they have a choice no matter what life throws at them. No matter what tragedy you go through, you can build your own resilience to come back and bounce back from that. I want them to grow and know that no matter what they are faced with, they have the ability to move forward. And yes, may not always be easy. You may not always have the answers. You may not always know what step to put forward, but just the fact that you're going to put a foot forward in front of the other, you're going to take a step, you're at least moving forward. That's great. That's amazing. You know, understand that what you are able to do when tragedy is thrown your way, how you're able to move forward, how you're able to be resilient through that. That's awesome. Doesn't matter how small or large that is. And once you do build on your resilience and you go through these moments in life, these tragedies, these difficulties, you need to personally grow from them. You need to learn from them. There's no point in going through something tragic and getting to the other side and not learning anything, because guess what? You're just going to go through it again. But to be able to grow from something tragic, from something difficult, from being resilient to go through it and grow from it, that's truly phenomenal. So I want women out there and men, because both a man and a woman miscarry a child. They both lose a child. The woman from a body perspective will also will miscarry, obviously, but men also lose a child in that moment. When you are going through something like that, or you have gone through something like that, you need to talk about it. You need to connect with someone or people that can support you through such a tragedy in life, such a difficult time. Because one thing about resilience, one of the points of resilience is to learn on who you can lean on support. And if you don't feel comfortable talking about this with those that are in your life, your friends, your family, then seek help. Seek help with a professional. Work with someone that you feel you're connected with and you're able to open up comfortably, but start talking. Start talking and talk about your feelings. Dig deep, dig really deep, and get to the guts of what you felt, the thoughts you thought, the things you said to yourself, the things you said out loud. Be really, really, really honest and clear so that you can help yourself move forward from that moment. Because I pray that anybody that goes through this kind of thing in life has an opportunity to fall pregnant again, if that's what they choose to do, obviously. For me, having my second was, like I said, a blessing. And I'm totally grateful when I look at both my girls each and every day for what I have. It has made me realize that when I was having my conversations with my husband about how I felt from the miscarriage, because I have communicated openly with him and told him each and every deep, dark detail. It helped us have transparency. It helped us talk to each other about how we felt. It helped us understand each other. By us communicating and telling each other what we felt and what we went through, it helped us really be there. And it helped us come to the point of discussing, do we want more children? And we both agreed that we don't. And we were okay with that. We're happy with our two. And we both congruently came together on that point and agreed that we were okay not to expand on our family even more. We made that decision because we're happy we've got the two girls. They have each other. We're a family of 4, which is it's quite a nice number. We're blessed that we have the both of them. And because I realized that I may have gotten through the first miscarriage, but I really didn't want to go through that again. And that may be a selfish comment to make. And my husband agreed with me as well, that it was not something we both want to experience again. But being aware of that, being aware that I didn't want to take a chance of falling pregnant and losing a baby a second time around in my life, that's gold in itself. It's not at all selfish. It's actually being brutally honest. And when you come from a place of total honesty, trust me, it's not an easy place to come from, but it at least helps you know who you are and what you are and how you're going to move forward and what you want in life and what you're going to do. So I'm hoping that this video resonates with you and helps you find your way out of this type of tragedy, if it has happened to you in the past or it's something you're going through now. And when I say reach out and speak to people, if you feel that you need to actually speak to someone that's in the professional space, a coach, a psychologist, a counselor, whatever technique it is that you feel best supports you, then do that and reach out. This is a topic that I would definitely, hand on heart, want to help, support and guide women and their men through, because it's definitely not an easy one to get through. Anyways, thanks heaps for tuning in. It's hard to talk about this topic, but I do feel like when I do, it just helps me keep getting it off my chest. And here we are, 2021, a couple of years down the track, and no matter how much I talk about it, it still makes me emotional, and that's okay. That's good. No one's telling you to remove that emotion from your life, but find a way to have it there and accept it, forgive yourself, forgive what happened, and be able to actually function in a better place. Take care of yourself.